And good morning, everybody. Welcome, Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. How you feeling, Bruce? You a little tired this morning?
I am a little bit tired this morning, a little bit disappointed this morning, but so it goes. Avs coming home, 1-1, took care of their business down there. Had a chance, I thought, to knock the door down a little bit last night, up 3-2 late, but couldn't quite get it done. And then and the Nuggets head to LA, I think, in some dangerous territory right now. So that's kind of where I am. But this series is living up to the expectations of it being a heavyweight fight. It's been very interesting, mano a mano, team, star versus star. 20 turnovers for the Clippers one night, 20 turnovers for the Nuggets the next night. So some oddities there, but here we are.
At the risk of turning this show into me and you and about us, with the magnitude of yesterday's games, was it difficult for you to watch both games at the same time?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. It was hard to zero in. I thought it was going to be a little easier, but I had problems zeroing in, and I finally had to make the distinction of, okay, I'm doing the Nuggets. I'm gonna really zero in on the Nuggets right now, popping in and out of the Avs, and then fortunately or unfortunately, at least the Nuggets were over in a timely manner. That the overtime was available to us. Just didn't get the result that we were looking for. But yeah, it was difficult, and that's interesting that you bring that up because usually that's not a problem. I can multitask, and it didn't feel like I was in a good place to do that last night.
There were 6 minutes to go in both games, and I'm like, man, final 6 minutes of any game.
Right.
Okay. So it was tight, obviously, in the Nuggets game. I believe it was 3-3 in the Avalanche game with 6 minutes to go in both games. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to kind of make an executive decision on my own end. I am going to pause the Nuggets game, watch the rest of the Avalanche game. If the Avs game goes to overtime, I'll be able to watch the rest of the Nuggets game free and clear. And that's exactly what happened. So I made a good decision there. With that, at the end of the day, both teams lost. Before we get to the lead, the best way to buy what you want at the price you want is a roller auction, leader in Colorado auctions. For over 45 years on Wednesday, a week from tomorrow, there's an auction featuring computers, printers, television, cell phones, jewelry, watches, and more. Bidding is started at rollerauction.com. Don't forget to go to rollerauction.com to learn about upcoming auctions. Get what you want at the price you want today at Roller Auction. Time now for the lead.
The lead is presented by Sasquatch Casino, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
To the Avalanche, we will get to them. We will start with the Nuggets. Plenty of missed opportunities for the Nuggets, like, Aaron Gordon blowing a dunk. That looked easy. It looked like he was a little too far away from the rim, and that's why that happened. MPJ blamed himself after the game. Okay. Well, that is my wife calling. Doesn't she know? Hold on. Hon, I am on the air right now, and you're on the air with me. So can I call you right back? Okay. Love you. See you, hon. Bye. See, that is the beauty of live radio, especially when you're not live radio, but live podcasting. When your wife doesn't realize, yes, indeed, your show starts at a certain time. But I digress. Let's get back to PJ. I felt badly for Michael Porter Jr. because he played a terrific game, specifically when you compare to what he did in game one. I'm really wondering about where he is from the neck up, where he played a great game, and he's walking around the locker room apologizing for one mistake that he made. But we will get to that probably a little bit later on in this segment. Let's move on. Should David Adelman have called a timeout on the final possession? With all of that said, those are individual moments, Bruce. But really, and we'll get to Kawhi Leonard too, but can this loss simply be pinned on 20 turnovers, 7 from Jokic, 8 missed free throws, 4 from Jokic.
Yeah.
I'm not pinning this loss on Jokic, but did that really decide the game where the Nuggets were careless with the ball? The Clippers defense had a lot to do with it, just like the Clippers were careless with the ball in game 1.
I will say this, and to those that much is given, much is expected. And I will say this about Nikola Jokic, because he's got broad shoulders, and it's not like he's not used to this. He can't be just really good. He has to be great.
Right.
He has to be great in this series with the guys that he's facing, Zubac and Kawhi, James Harden, etc. He has to be great. And that has to be a baseline for the Nuggets every single night. Last night, he was good. At times, he was really, really good. But he wasn't great. He wasn't able to put them on his back and take them to a win. And that is going to be, I think, a very significant X factor moving forward. The Clippers have a plan against Jokic. Most plans don't always go according to plan against a guy like Jokic because he's so good that he can alter things. But they did just enough last night to disrupt him in a game that was very close. And you and I have talked about this. I think this is going to be a very close series in terms of final scores and competitiveness of games. And, last night, too many turnovers, too many missed free throws, too many missed opportunities in a game that ends up being a one-score game. So, yeah, it's easy to go back and look at a lot of things. 4 missed free throws, a turnover here, a turnover there, a missed dunk here. These are the little things that conspire against you, much in the same way that the little things worked for you in game 1.
I'm not sure how much you believe in numerology. I don't. But 20 turnovers for the Clippers in game 1. Yeah. 20 turnovers for the Nuggets in game 2. Kawhi Leonard, 7 turnovers in game 1. Jokic, 7 turnovers in game 2. Lincoln had a vice president named Johnson.
Yeah.
Kennedy had a vice president named Johnson. I won't go through the whole list, although my favorite one is, there was a time where Abraham Lincoln did spend time in Monroe, Maryland. And there was a time where Kennedy spent time in Maryland, Monroe. But I digress. With Kawhi Leonard, how do you shut down this guy? Because I don't know if there's anybody on the Nuggets roster that, listen, he's hard to match up for any team. But Aaron Gordon is not quick enough. And anybody else who tries to guard him, which will be a smaller guy, is going to get bullied. I don't know how they address the Kawhi Leonard problem, in which scored 39 points, 15 of 19 shooting from the floor. Wow. Yeah. And he took a lot of tough shots and just kept making them. And James Harden, by the way, quiet game for him with 18. And by the way, Powell, who was shut down in game 1, caught fire late. And it's that 3-headed monster that we were worried about going into game 1. And we saw more balance, certainly, in game 2.
It's an issue because you have 2.5 guys that you've got to account for every single night. And I'm going to put Norman Powell in that half measurement right now. But they didn't have an answer for James Harden in game 1. They survived it. Didn't have an answer for Kawhi Leonard, obviously, in game 2, and didn't survive it. Now, is Kawhi Leonard, as great as he is, going to go 15 of 19 every single night? Probably not. But hope can't be your defensive strategy, hoping that he misses a shot here or there. Aaron Gordon is the only guy that you can really match in that situation defensively against Kawhi Leonard. You can get some help from Christian Brown every now and then. He's a strong body, not as strong as Kawhi Leonard. MPJ, with all due respect, is not a defensive prototype. He's a big body. He's got length. So you can get some help from him. But you've got 2 guys, Eric, every single game that you've got to account for, and you've really basically got to account for them in one-on-one situations. Now, the Nuggets have shown some zone. It's small little glimpses of zone in both games, and maybe they can be creative with that as time moves forward. That remains to be seen. But more than anything, this is a man team that has to be able to get in front of a guy and stop a guy from what they're trying to do. That's a big challenge, I think, for the Nuggets moving forward.
When Kawhi Leonard was out, Powell picked up the slack.
Yeah, he did.
Averaging about 21 points a game. Jamal Murray was more than pretty good yesterday.
Yeah.
But he's not playoff Jamal. 23 points ain't going to cut it.
No.
21 points, 7 of 20 shooting in game one is not going to cut it. If the Nuggets are going to win this series, Jamal's going to have to go for about 28 to 30 and be efficient in the process. I understand that he hit 4 3-pointers and he hit some big shots.
Yeah.
And I like the balance in the Nuggets lineup. I do, with the way that they're scoring, but they need some huge games from Jamal Murray. And if they don't get it, I'm sorry, they're done. Because when I watched the opening, the opening 5-6 minutes of the game,
right,
the Nuggets were just erasing the Clippers off the court because the Clippers' transition defense was just simply putrid.
Yeah.
But what concerned me was this. For as great as the Nuggets looked early on in that game, they were never able to build a comfortable lead. And all I kept thinking to myself was, I'm watching one game, this game, and then the other game was I'm looking at the scoreboard. And I'm not seeing any separation here. And for as great as the Nuggets played in the first quarter, it was a 6-point game after the first quarter. And I'll tell you what I thought to myself. I'm not saying this to sound prophetic. The morning after, I thought to myself, Nuggets aren't winning this game. I was not so bold to put that out on X, but I'm thinking they are playing as well as they can possibly play offensively, and they don't have a double-digit lead. Now, could they have won this game? Of course they could have.
Yeah.
But then as I'm watching this game unfold, I'm like, then the Clippers built a lead, and every time the Nuggets got close, Clippers pulled away a little bit. Yeah. They are the better team. Unless Murray goes off. You know what you're getting from Jokic. You know, by the way, Clippers did a fantastic job keeping Jokic out of the paint.
Yeah.
That's another problem. Unless the Nuggets adjust. I think Adelman made a comment after the game. He said, the Clippers did a really good job of adjusting. And then basically stopped short of saying, we really didn't.
We really didn't, yeah.
But you knew what he meant.
Right. This isn't great natural insight, but it was fairly apparent to, I think, us on Friday when we were talking about more things have to happen consistently for the Nuggets, even in a close series, to win a game. We've touched upon a couple of them. Jokic has got to be great, not very good. He's got to be great. Jamal Murray has got to be closer to playoff Jamal than we have seen so far in this series. The Nuggets have got to be able to figure out ways to get in the way of look, James Harden made it difficult for them in game one, and they survived it. Game two, Kawhi took over, was the best player on the floor, and there really wasn't any argument about it. And it ended up being, along with 20 turnovers, we can, when you have a one-possession game, you can cherry pick a lot of different things. But Kawhi Leonard's ability to take over that game, to me, was the biggest factor, because whenever they needed a hoop, to your point, when the Nuggets were trying to build a lead, anytime that the Clippers needed a hoop, number two was ready to give it to them, and more times than not, 15 of 19, he gave it to them. So is it insurmountable? No, it's not insurmountable, but more things have got to happen at a higher level for the Nuggets because of the fact that they're not a defensive force. They're a team that wants to score. They did a great job in transition last night, especially early in the game, to your point. They were great in transition, up and down the floor, running, but LA took that away from them. And all of a sudden now you've got to act in the half court, which means you've got to get shots in the half court. And that wasn't happening.
Shouldn't we give the Nuggets a little bit more credit for playing defense in this series? They were giving up, 114, 115 points a game during the regular season. The Clippers came into this series over the final 21 games of the regular season as the best offensive team in basketball.
Yes, I think you
not scoring like they did at the end of the regular season. I will give the Nuggets certainly credit for that, and their fourth quarter defense for the most part in last night's game, I thought it was more than pretty good.
In fact, their clutch defense over the course of the season has actually been pretty good. That's the irony of the Nuggets. And what it does is it underscores just how they don't put energy into defense most of the time. They wait until times when they think it's going to make a difference in a game. It could have made a difference last night. Look, part of playoff basketball is every possession, the stakes are heightened than a game in February or in the middle of January. It's playoff basketball. Everybody is upping the amps. And it's 24 seconds. Remember, it's 24 seconds unless you get an offensive rebound, right? And a second possession. You've got to defend basically for 18 of those 24 seconds, take away the 6 that you have walking the ball down the court or something like that. For God's sakes, ramp it up and defend. And I think largely the Nuggets have been doing this. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They've been better defensively, but around the league, you're seeing this. Scores are down. Take Oklahoma City out of it. Scores are down. It was very difficult last night in the precursor. I was watching the Knicks games with the Pistons. I mean, it was hard to score baskets in that game last night. So that's kind of where we are. I don't think much has changed, Eric, and I'm not going to speak for you. I don't think much has changed. I good for the Nuggets to have gotten a game. I wish they could have gotten last night. It wouldn't have changed my feeling on things that the Clippers are the better team. Are they heads and shoulders above the Nuggets? No, not heads and shoulders, but more things have got to happen for the Nuggets to be in a position to win than it does the Clippers. And I think that we've seen that in both of the first two games. Now we go to LA, and it's going to get more interesting.
Yeah. Before we move to the Avalanche, let's talk about Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah.
On Monday, following the game on Saturday, I half-jokingly said he has killed his trade value. I mean, when you have Nikola Jokic saying, man, if you're not ready for these games, you should not be on the floor. Last night, 15 points. Okay. Some clutch shots, too, despite the mistake that we made. 15 points, 15 rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds.
Yep.
You are active when you are getting 6 offensive rebounds. Where the Nuggets were spectacular last night was they cleaned up the offensive glass and got so many second chance points. Now the question for David Adelman is, we know what bad MPJ looks like, totally disengaged in a playoff game against the Clippers. We know what he looks like totally engaged in a playoff game against the Clippers. Which guy am I getting on Thursday?
Well, and Eric, the very nature of that question means we don't know the answer, which means that we don't know how much trust you can have in the process with Michael Porter Jr. He's shown us two ends of the spectrum throughout the first two games of this series. And by the way, he's got a little bit of a history in postseason basketball too. He's been good in some series. He's been absolutely absent in some series, like the Minnesota series at the end of last year. He was not much of a factor in that series. So you don't know what you're going to get with MPJ. If you can absolutely set your watch to him like he was last night, and he doesn't have to go 15-15, but if he goes 18-8 or something like that and takes care of the ball and, stops a guy every now and then you can live with that. You can live with a guy because he can hit a big shot for you. He can hit a big shot. But I think the trust factor right now is it's at DEFCON 4. You've got to know what you have on the court. And if you're right now trying to balance out what you know about Michael Porter Jr. and Russell Westbrook, and those are your two guys that you're trying to figure out which one of them are going to be on the court, good luck, David Adelman. Good luck.
Coming up after the break, Avalanche are tied at 1 apiece with the Dallas Stars. Be honest, I feel very badly for, all the guys in the locker room. When you lose, you lose. I feel terrible for Blackwood. I feel terrible for Logan O'Connor. But here we are. Has this series shifted a little bit where the Stars punched back? Are you as confident in the Avs as you were after a 5-1 win in Game 1? That's next. Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. And don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corn bake. Man, you got to try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch in the DTC. Both locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook is a hangout bar or great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, the DTC, and coming soon to Parker. They are the sports bar.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a Ford Bronco Raptor or nearly $30,000 in cash the weekend of May 23rd. Get finalist entries from 10 a.m. until midnight during their daily cash drawings every 45 minutes or by redeeming player points. And all daily cash drawings that don't get picked are eligible for a second chance drawing on Wednesdays, and that can turn into extra cash. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Welcome back. Hot Takes with Goodman and Haertl. Not like the Avalanche didn't know this already, and all NHL playoff teams know this. The hardest thing to do is close out a series. You have a clinching game. The other team is just going to skate around with their hair on fire. The Avs found that out in the third period last night, in which it looked like the ice was completely tilted. The Avs could not get the puck out of their own zone. Constant pressure, constant forechecking by the Stars. And to Mackenzie Blackwood's credit, he gave up a single goal. He could have given up 3 or 4 in that period alone. Honestly, if you look at the overall game, I would say that the Avs were the better team.
Yeah.
In the first period, and I put this out on X, I don't remember the Avs playing like they did in the first half of the first period since they won the Stanley Cup.
Wow. Yeah.
They were getting the puck out of the zone fast. They were flying through that neutral zone. Passes were tape to tape. Forecheck was heavy. They were getting scoring chances. I'm like, man, this looks like the Stanley Cup team. And then in the second period, it balanced out a little bit.
Yeah.
And before you know it, the ice went like this. And I'm thinking, what's this game going to look like in overtime? To the Avs' credit, they played more like the second period than they did the third period. But at the end of the day, it is still a loss. Ottinger was fantastic. I think Mackenzie Blackwood was fantastic. The media votes on the 3 stars of the game
Right.
after the game. You're never going to give one of those stars to a goaltender that gives up 4 goals and has a save percentage of less than 90%. Blackwood, honestly, for me, could have been a choice. Logan O'Connor was easily a choice, although I don't know if he got one of the 3 stars.
No, I don't think that he did. Opportunity lost.
You can make the case. He was as good, if not better, than McKinnon, and that is saying something, specifically for a guy who plays on the 4th line.
Well, again,
dependent.
And again, it comes back to a familiar theme when we start talking about hockey and the depth of a team. I feel better about, now look, this is a statement of the obvious, but I'll say it anyway. I feel a lot better about the Avs coming home than I do the Nuggets going on the road, even though both of them are 1-1. And the reason I like the Avs better, or I feel, no, it's not that I like them better. I just feel better about their chances are because of the depth that guys like Logan O'Connor are representing right now. First of all, to your point yesterday, in Mackenzie Blackwood, they have an answer.
Yeah.
If you've got a question, if you had a question a couple of days ago, 3 days ago, going in about what was going to be between the pipes, I think that you are fairly confident about who he is at this particular point and who he is going to be moving forward. That guy, I think, Eric, gives them a chance every time they go on the ice. It becomes incumbent upon offense to create good scoring chances and to finish good scoring chances. I'm with you. I thought that the Avs were clearly the better team for the first half of this game. Certainly in the first period, I thought they could have done more damage than they ended up doing. I was like, this thing should be 2-3-0, after 1.
But Ottinger was playing great.
He was.
He made a statement yesterday that I need to certainly walk back.
Okay.
I said that the Avs are better in goal. That's live podcasting for you. Okay. I wish you could have taken it back when I said it. Ottinger was excellent this entire season, and he proved it. He proved it last night. But he's been proving it all season. I would say that the goaltending is at least even, for lack of a better phrase. But we talk about Logan O'Connor, and I'm not the sports editor for the Dallas Morning News, but the headline could have very easily been blackout. Blackwell past, Blackwood.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
My feeling last night when I turned the light off was, damn, opportunity lost. I think they really had an opportunity. And I thought they played with great energy. I mean, like you said, they were actually, the Nuggets and the Avs were kind of similar. They came out of shoots really flying last night, right?
Yep.
I mean, it was impressive to watch both of them early on. But now you come home and you may lament the opportunity that slipped by you, but it just barely slipped by you, and you still are up in this series because the next 2 games are at home. Yeah, it's 1-1, but you have home ice advantage. Now let's make it work. Again, we've got 2 heavyweight bouts, right, going on with both of our teams. It's remarkable how consistently these 2 teams mirror each other, right? And they've been doing it for years. Now here they are, 2 games into the playoffs. They're both 1-1. I think both with very different feels moving forward in their series, but still at 1-1. I'm still pretty bullish on the Avs coming home, but there is no delusion for me. There's a reason that Dallas was a 100-point team and that they were, the second best team in the West. I mean, give them their due.
Well, when you look at the 6 periods that they played, and I'll call it 7 because of the overtime,
right.
Dallas has been better in just 1 period of the 7. Been better.
Yeah.
Has been better. And that's the 3rd period last night. Overtime, it was kind of equal. And I'll be honest with you. And I said this about the Nuggets in the previous segment. When the Nuggets were up in the first quarter, when they were basically running the ball down the Clippers' throats, I did not feel the Nuggets would win the game. That was just my gut, that everything was going their way, yet they weren't able to build a double-digit lead or something that made you, at least in the moment, make you feel comfortable. When overtime started, I'm thinking, unless the Avalanche flip a switch here, this game is going to be over in the opening 2 minutes.
Right.
To the Avs' credit, I don't want to say they came out flying, but at least they matched the Stars' intensity for sure. And then, again, another forecheck by the Stars, and that turned into the game-winning goal. And, oh, by the way, there might be at least one person out there who's saying, oh, what a soft goal given up by Blackwood. I mean, nobody's screening him. The guy was maybe 6 feet away. No one has that type of reflex in order to lift your glove up that quickly.
Eric, let me ask you, what is the easiest way to relieve pressure against the forecheck? Because I thought that was the thing that really kind of swung the game last night. Dallas was really able to kind of get into the Avs' kitchen a little bit. So what moving forward is Jared Bednar thinking about to kind of relieve that pressure or to counter it?
Forechecking is effort.
Right.
Forechecking is going into those corners, banging a body, and then winning the 50
puck.
battles. It's about effort as much as it is anything else. The Stars were aggressive in their forecheck in the 3rd period. In the 1st period, the Avs were just as aggressive. Somebody might disagree with me, and that's cool. I think the Avs are a physical team. I think the Stars are a bigger, more physical team. But when they started banging around the Avs and they couldn't get the puck out of their own zone, but the bigger problem was, even when they couldn't get it out of their own zone, even when they did get it out of their zone, they couldn't get it through the neutral zone either. It's as if there were like 8 skaters out there wearing green. That's what it felt like. You have to, and the Avs did a very good job for a good portion of the game, back checking and forechecking. It's just the Stars raised it to a level of desperation where they knew, listen, they've lost plenty of game 1s in the playoffs. That has been well documented.
Right.
If you watch any graphics on television, it's, I don't know what graphic has been played more historically. The Stars losing game 1 of a playoff series, or the number of quarterbacks the Broncos have had since Peyton Manning.
Yeah. You can also throw in the difference between points when Jokic is on the floor as opposed to, and those are the 3 things that you just see with the Denver teams across the board. Right. It's nuts. Well, I mean, we'll see where it goes. I really expect the Avs to continue to fly in Game 3. I just think if they can dictate pace to their liking, and this is anybody in any sport just about, if you can dictate pace with your speed, I don't think Dallas has enough to keep up with them.
Well, there's a great saying, you can't hit what you can't catch.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
That is said in hockey all the time. So for the sake of argument, you have, I don't know, an Avs player or a Stars player dump and chase, for lack of a better phrase. And you have, I don't know, Sammy Girard, who's going after the puck. And he's a couple of skates ahead of, I don't know, Jamie Benn behind him. Girard needs to get to the puck, obviously faster, but then turn it around. If Ben smashes his face up against the glass, that's a huge forecheck that loosens up the puck. And if there's a Stars player there, bang, you're cycling right back around again. And the Stars were great on their forecheck.
Yeah.
In the Stanley Cup years, it felt like teams would try and forecheck the Avalanche, but they were getting out of their zones so quickly. So you weren't able to have any type of forecheck because you were so quick out of your zone. Last night in the third period, it looked as if the Avs were skating in sand.
Yeah.
But then again, you're looking at a Stars team that has been to a couple of Western Conference finals recently. They have a veteran team. They're missing two of their top players, including Heiskanen. And I keep hearing, what if they were playing? What if Landeskog?
Right.
I hear Landeskog was up.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to be, feeling sorry for the Avalanche that Nichushkin missed a couple of playoff series because of self-inflicted wounds. It is what it is. Yes, the Nuggets or the Avs are fortunate that Heiskanen isn't playing. I don't give a shit. This happens in playoff hockey where you're missing maybe a really, really good player. I get it. Let's talk about a really good player in Landeskog. Some people were wondering why Landeskog would dress right before the game, go on the ice, be in the locker room, and Jared Bednar said it very simply. He said, that's what Landy wanted to do. He wanted to get the feel of playoff hockey again. And while that sounds silly for a guy who's probably been on skates since he was 2 and has been playing hockey since he has been 5 in the midget league, and no, that wasn't a slam against small people. It's really called the midget league. Now, if I called it the dwarf league, that would be completely inappropriate.
Well, that you would never do that.
That's why I would never call it the dwarf league. My point is, after you miss 1,000 games, you want to get that feel back. I would be very, very surprised if Landeskog, if he can go, doesn't go in Game 3 on Wednesday. But I did find something interesting. So Wood draws the first penalty of the game in the first period. If Landeskog played, who would not have been on the ice?
Probably Wood.
It would have been Wood.
Yeah, sure.
Which is interesting. But getting back to Landeskog, I'd be stunned if he is not going to play in Game 3, knowing the tidal wave of emotions that is going to follow.
I'm with you, E. I think it just makes too much sense for him to. He wants to play. He's close to being able to play. He's proven that he can handle ice time, albeit at the next level in the AHL. We get that. I think that he can command the moment and not burn. I think he can be ready for the moment and not let the moment overwhelm him. Although, for God's sakes, it would overwhelm just about anyone else. Nobody understands better than Gabe Landeskog about the importance of team play moving forward in this series and the importance of establishing the home beachhead now and getting a win on Wednesday night. To me, it's a huge game. Game 3. If you can maintain home ice advantage, get to a 2-1 advantage, it puts all of the pressure on Dallas in Game 4. But man, and we've talked about this, the emotional impact. And I think that Gabe understands how strong the emotional impact would be for this. How much would it be worth for the Avs? It remains to be seen, but I can't imagine it wouldn't be worth a lot.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Hot Takes with Goodman and Haertl. Tomorrow, Game 3, Avalanche against the Stars. Thursday, I don't need to set the schedule for you. You already know what's going on. NFL Draft, Game 3, Nuggets against the Clippers. And then Saturday, another sportsgasm, another double dip, but at least the timing is right. Where I don't know about you, Bruce, but I have my laptop on my lap, ironically, and the television in the distance as I'm doing this the entire time. And just to go back to the start of the show, it was hard. At least for me, I'm not looking for any empathy. No one's going to ever say, "Oh, you got a really hard job, Goodman. You got to
watching games.
You got to watch sports for a living." But to have to pay attention, to two games that are really running parallel because the Avs game started so late. I understand the Nuggets game started late too, but think about this for a second. Both games, at the end of the games, were at the same point with about 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And the similarities in the two games that both have played are striking. But what it underscores more than anything else is that these are just two very competitive series, as you would think they would be. It's a 4-5 in the NBA, and it's a 2-3 in the Central Division with arguably two of the 5 best teams in the NHL. They should be competitive games. It's going to be a great week.
Talk to you tomorrow. Make it the best possible day you can.